It is February 20. Today is one of the most important commemorative days in Ukraine's history, the day of remembrance of the heroes of the Heavenly Hundred. This day honors those who were killed 12 years ago in February 2014 during the shooting of protesters who were opposing the corrupt, gangster-like regime of President Yanukovych. Many of us did not realize it at that time, but they were the first victims of the Russian-Ukrainian war. Even if the bullets that killed dozens of people in central Kyiv were fired by Ukrainian police, it was done in the interests of the Russian authorities under their pressure and above all for their sake. The Kremlin needed not only to keep Ukraine within its sphere of influence, but also to keep Ukrainians in subjugation, denying them the ability to choose their own future. That is why Russia pushed the dim-witted, pitiful Yanukovych to use firearms against the peaceful protesters. That is why it urgently sent its advisors to Kyiv, who directed the actions of the security forces. And that is why it unleashed a frenzied propaganda campaign to discredit the protesters, portraying them all as Nazis and criminals. Incidentally, this is how Russian media now portray all Ukrainians. I was in central Kyiv throughout all the days of a bloody confrontation. Before my eyes, people were being killed, people who walked toward machine guns, trying to protect themselves from them with makeshift wooden shields. Wood against a machine gun steel, and the wood won. The vast apparatus of killing and coercion, lavishly greased with Russian money and fueled by hatred of freedom, broke against people in hockey helmets whose most dangerous weapons were Molotov cocktails. The regime of the stupid sadist Yanukovych, built on corruption and intimidation, on handouts from Moscow and total lies, collapsed. It was a great victory. Yes, in many ways it was symbolic, only the beginning of a confrontation that continues to this day, but it was an immensely important symbol. For me, the day of remembrance of the heroes of the Heavenly Hundred stands alongside the signing of a Declaration of Independence or the adoption of Magna Carta. Yes, those events were not unambiguous, instant victories. Much more blood was shed and much pain endured afterward, but they became turning points after which a return to dictatorship was no longer imaginable, well, at least until recently. Back when, 12 years ago, we all changed. Ukraine chose freedom, from which our deranged neighbor so desperately refuses to let us go. But we will not return to the Gulag. We will not surrender. It is very hard and cold now, physically and psychologically exhausting. Yet the path to freedom that began in February 2014 will be carried through to the end. We are living in terrible times, more horrifying than one could invent, but freedom will prevail. It must. It simply has to prevail.